Letter question. Hi, Brendan Lee here. I'm Brendan Lee from thebrendanlee.com in support of consciousness and skill worldwide. Thank you for joining me. Ish. Letter, blah, 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 is a bunch of story. This came from a person, a concerned citizen. Blah, blah, blah. So there came a sense of being lost and not knowing what to do, and it stayed ever since. Somebody's lost. I started to analyze and question myself and many other things like relationship, motives to do anything, my behavior patterns, and where I get them from, etc. And started to discover how much unaddressed BS there is, or bullshit. So how does one get clear on what he wants? I think he means, how does one get clear on what he wants or what they want while being in a sort of paralysis by analysis? Is there value in trying to make these situations from the past straighten? So sounds like there's a few things here that I can address. The first thing is that it's the question of what do I do with my life, or how do I know what to do that, like what should I do? The question comes, and when I observe the question, my experience is that the person is asking me, what do I do with my life? What do I do? And it brings to mind for me a realization that I had years and years ago. I think I was doing my first contemplation intensive, or second or first, years ago, like 18, 17 years ago. I was much younger. And I was working on who am I? And I had an insight, I had a breakthrough, and huge insight. Well, I wouldn't say it's like a huge insight, but the feeling was unlike anything I'd ever felt before. The freedom that I felt during this experience was a shocker for me at the time. I had never experienced anything like that before. And what came across to me was very clear, which is 100% clear, is that it didn't matter what I did. It really doesn't matter, ultimately. And I got that like a reality. Like, it doesn't, if I wash dishes, change tires, CEO of business, millionaire, poor as dirt, heroin addict, genius, mastermind, criminal, good person, saint, good, bad, all realms, it just doesn't matter ultimately what I do. So that gave me a lot of space and freedom around, what I thought I should be doing. It's like there is no should, there is no shouldn't. All of the shoulds and shouldn'ts are self-imposed or created and then lived as if that's what needs to occur. Now, fast forward many years later, and I am starting to learn, or have been learning for quite some time now, that in addition to there's perhaps a superficial level of should and shouldn't. Like, what should I do with my life? Should I be a doctor? Should I be a waiter? Should I be a nurse? Should I be a businessman or woman? Should I be I keep thinking health practitioner? Should I be a teacher? Should I be a mechanic? Whatever. And there's like, or what way should I be as a human being? Like, am I a bad person if I do X, Y, and Z? Or do I need to be a good person, and a good person only acts a certain way? These are like ideal situations or creations of, well, in order for me to be a good person, I need to fulfill these requirements to get somebody to love me and make $1 million, and then I will finally be solved, and all this stuff. And this is a domain of something we call ideals, where you are trying to fulfill an ideal self image, And one of the things with ideals is that they never really go anywhere, and their only design is to push you, but that's another story. So these are like, what should I be, or how should I conduct my life? Ultimately, there is no should or shouldn't. It's just you're alive. You can do whatever you want. Now, recently, fast forward decade and a half later, I'm starting to realize there's also what seems to me to be a deeper level, or a domain of principles or principled living, where if I am starting to notice that if I do certain things and conduct myself a certain way, there are consequences to my conduct. For example, if I lie, then I am a liar. There's consequences to being a liar. If I keep my word, I have integrity. My word starts to have power. There's consequences to keeping my word. You see, so I'm very often I try to include the good and the bad in these videos to give a broader perspective on the matter, rather than just focusing on one direction or the other, because we already do that. We already say, okay, if it's bad, it's bad. Avoid that. If this is good, we move toward what's good and away from what's bad. And we're already busy doing that, and I'm trying to broaden the scope here, so to speak. And so this other, again, trying to bring it back to regarding, well, what should I do with my life? I'm starting to notice that there are certain ways of behaving, or certain ways of conducting myself, and certain principles that if I align with certain principles, there are results that lead me toward a sense of fulfillment and a background sense of worth that I have not experienced heretofore. And this is like a slow progression, so to speak. It is not an instant, okay, if I do it once, then it's done and I can move on. No, I have to keep doing it. Like using the example of integrity for myself. If I break my word to myself over and over and over and over and over again, I will start to develop a sense of being a liar, and I will sacrifice trust to myself, and that will just be a general base feeling sense of where I'm at as one consequence to that way of being in the world, for example. And on the flip side of that, if I keep my word to myself, if I do it once, okay, if I do it many times over a prolonged period of time, guess what starts to happen? I start to give my word to myself, and boom, it's a real thing. It's not something weak. It's more powerful. And because of that, I get a sense of being more powerful or more capable human being, because I take myself seriously. I take the word that I say seriously. So bringing that to the question, like, how should I live my life? You see, I think more often it's like I think the question is coming from, correct me if I'm wrong, is it seems like there's a question of like, well, how do I get clear on what I want? How do I get clear on what I want to do while being stuck in a paralysis? Well, let me see. Stop being stuck in paralysis, like cut it out. That's the first thing. Well, you can actually do that. Okay, analysis paralysis. That's an activity that's going on that you're generating in your experience. Analyzing, figuring out. Stop figuring. Stop that whole activity. Just cut it out. And perhaps you could ask a question, or you can ask yourself, like, what do I really want to do? In my heart of hearts, what do I want to do? How do I want to spend my time? What's worth it to me? Like, hold that question more like an open question, rather than trying to figure out a reason and a why and like this, that, and the other thing. That's like an intellectual figuring of the matter. That is a different activity than contemplating openly and openly questioning, what do I want to do? What do I want to do for me? If I had a choice of anything to do in the world, what would I do? Or another one, this is an exercise, and I'm bringing it up for your consideration, and I think might be useful. I think I got this from somebody else. I cannot remember who. Could have been Leo, not sure. And there's a scenario, like as a mind exercise, run yourself through this question. Like, okay, you win the lottery. Great. You have all the money you could ever want. You're set for life. You're set forever. You're going to have monthly income forever. Now you party it out. You go do all the traveling you want to do. You buy all the things you want to buy. You get all the material wealth, all the, beautiful women or men, the awesome car, the nice house, all the stuff, all the trappings, all the physical objects and the stuff and the relationship, and all that stuff. You party it all out. You go everywhere. You do everything. And at the end of the day, now you've done all that. Now what? Money is no problem. Now what? And if something comes to mind about that sounds like there may be something there for you that's fulfilling for you, not based on what somebody else told you should do, or what society says is the right thing or the wrong thing to do, or how you were brought up, or what somebody wrote in a book, or somebody else's idea. But like, for you, what's the best thing? Question that. Ask yourself. You be the authority. That's my invitation. I cannot be responsible for telling you what to do and how to live. Now, sometimes I work closely with people, and when they're in that kind of relationship with me, then yes, I will tell them how to be, what to do. And I'll invite them strongly to consider certain things and look into the consequences of their actions and their thinking and all that stuff. But this is a totally different matter. That's more like an apprenticeship type matter, or a student-teacher type relationship. But when I get the question here, like, what do I do? How do I stop being paralyzed, and how do I stop this analysis paralysis? Well, stop analyzing. Okay, now maybe hearing that, it's a bit blunt, a bit sudden, and a bit like, hey, do something. Let's consider some other possibilities. What is analysis? It seems to be that the analysis is like trying to find reasons why I'm doing the things I'm doing, or reasons for what do I want to do next. Like, what are the reasons? What's the reasons? Now, let me tell you a little secret about reasons. Let's look at reasons. What are reasons? Or explanations. What are they? See, like if I picked my hand up, why did I do that? See? Can you see that the questioning why happens after the action? It's after. Here's the action. Now, why did I do that? Why? We could analyze. Oh, let's read some books. What did they say about raising the right hand? What is the meaning of raising the right hand? What does it mean? Why did it happen? There's no reason. Reasons are made up. Always. Now, there does seem to be like another domain of reasons that's very like, okay, when there's objects here and you drop this one, boom, it falls down. That's like a law of physics kind of thing. That perhaps is a separate deal. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about this intellectual, like analyzing reasons why things are the way they are, or why should I do this, or why should I do that, or what should I do. That is an activity of intellectualizing and analysis that is a mind activity that has nothing to do with the objects themselves. They're not the same. They're not made of the same stuff. And if you can really dig into that and really get it, it will likely, I imagine, it will likely allow you some freedom around reasons and having to reason your way into something. There is no reason. The reason is only whatever you make up. And that's all it ever will be. And my invitation here, if you can actually get that, it may allow you some space around reasons and needing reasons. So then you can free yourself up to act however. And get you some space around it so that then you can consider, like, what do I really want to do? Like in your heart, what do you want to do? So I hope that helps give some perspective on trying to get unstuck. Another aspect of being stuck is like what we call a plateau. Like in the martial work, I can be working, and then boom, I hit a plateau. And then like, well, how do I get past this plateau? I'm stuck. You see, I'm not making any progress. I'm not going anywhere. I don't really know the next steps. And it's just flat. I'm flatlined. Not dead, but stasis. Not making progress. How do you do that? How do I do that? Well, first thing to do is to recognize that you're in it. That's a great first step. And once you recognize you're in it, how do you get out? You just do. You move onward. So there does seem to be an aspect of intent. Like I intend to get better. And then I start working the problem. I start working on it. How do I get better? What actions can I take that'll make a difference? Where can I go from here? What if I do the technique backwards? Just using martial arts as a vehicle for investigating this. See, because I have plateaued many times, and luckily I have a teacher who's will call me out on that. And I'll pretty much immediately say, hey, you're on a plateau, move on. And then I must move on, and I attack the problem with intelligence, as much intelligence as I can muster, lots of hard work and training, and I intend to move through. So, what do I want to do with my life? If I'm stuck and I don't know what I want to do with my life, figure it out. Make it happen. For you, not for anybody else, but for you, really. Open up. Question. My teacher talks about a time when he was trying to figure out, after winning a world championship martial arts tournament, a full contact tournament, first ever American to do so, back in 1978. What do I want to do in my life? After all the this is, and the way he puts it, he's like, yeah, I wanted to grow up. I figured I should get a career and grow up now that I've done all this other stuff. And he was sitting down trying to figure out what to do. He's contemplating, and he said one of the things that he was doing was trying to, as if, select what should I do from a preset, like what's already available. Okay, I could be a doctor, I could be a physicist, I could be a mechanic, a plumber, I could be a businessman, I could be a waiter, I could be whatever. He's trying to imagine what's available, and at some point he realized, wait a minute, no, I'm trying to pick from what's available. Oh. And so he's sitting with this problem. He's seen another problem. How do I get out of the problem? He's sitting with the problem, likely contemplating, I'm imagining, I don't know. And he said there he had an experience of boom, like an ocean fell on his head. And in that instant, he knew what he wanted to do. And it was consciousness work. He's like, duh, that's what I'm already doing, have been doing, and that's it. Boom, I'll do that. And he does. For me personally, I consider myself lucky in the sense that I was trying to figure out what to do when I was young and angry and unhappy in high school. And I was like, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? I need something. Somehow I knew I needed something. I don't know how I knew that. And then I found my teacher, and so my calling in a certain sense. And to me, the story is I saw my teacher and just boom, it's clear to me. I'm going to do that. Where are you? Texas? Okay, I'm coming. I'll see you soon. I've been here ever since, doing lots and lots and lots of work. So from that standpoint, I think I'm lucky in the sense that I've already sort of handled that problem, and I don't have much experience with not having knowledge of where I want to go or what I want to do. Now there are times that I do have questions or I'm at a standstill and I kind of don't know where I should go next, even though I have sort of a general overarching, I'm going to do this. And at those times I will sit with that problem. What do I want to do? What do I really want to do? And sometimes I'll be throwing things out like, oh, that's from somebody else. No, that's them telling me, oh, this is what I think I should do to please my parents or something. No, I'll toss that out. Oh, this is me trying to please my teacher, and I'll toss that out. And it's like a tossing out of stuff, so to speak, and an opening sense of like really honestly questioning, what is it? Oh, that's something else. No. Okay, what's really the source here? And it is possible to have an insight of sorts or breakthrough. Boom. Got it. Yes. That's what I want to do. So that's my recommendation. If you're asking me to tell you how to live, no. I want to avoid that. It's not my job. I think the most powerful thing I can do is, again, invite you to be accountable and responsible for your own life. And you live it how you want to live it. I have a bias towards living it in a powerful, open way that's full of honesty and skill and consciousness and integrity. And I think those are excellent ways to live. Excellence is another powerful principle. And these are very fulfilling principles to align oneself with. That's my bias. So if you want to do that, be my guest. But it's really up to you. Ultimately, it is up to you to find your own way. And if you're having trouble finding your own way, even after this video, and you're really having trouble, then, it's possible I cannot help you, because you're the only person that can help you. So, and these things can be quite challenging. So that's my answer to that question. Thank you very much for watching. If you like it, Feel free to comment. You're invited to subscribe. And take care. Bye.